We actually have a shot. Oh my god. Oh my god. Come on, 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 come on. Let's go! I've been trying to do that for like 10 days. Oh boy.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
How the heck are you guys? My name is Fastidious. Welcome to my channel. At long last, we have beaten Artifacts Material Raid 18. We did it live on stream yesterday, so you know what that means. It's time for a guide. So, this guide is as free-to-play friendly as I possibly could make it. I mean, I am free-to-play, so I guess technically, of course, it's free-to-play friendly. That being said, guys, Artifact Material Raid at its core is going to be a melee unit DPS check. So what do I mean by that? You're gonna need pretty good gear or pretty good heroes. So the only way you'll be able to do it with 100% guaranteed free heroes like fusibles and rare champions, things like that. I don't even know if you could do it with rare champions only. That'd be a good video for someone else to try out, not me for a while at least. The only way you're gonna do it is with tremendous gear. I don't have tremendous gear, however, I do have some great heroes I'm gonna bring into the fight. However, I've scaled down their gear as much as I possibly could to like the bare minimum that still allows me to complete this. And I will suggest alternatives. There's really only 2 heroes in this comp. Let me just show you already that are like not strictly free heroes. So I do think I did quite a good job. I guess 3 if you count Baron, but you don't need Baron. So I guess there's 3 heroes here that aren't like straight up free heroes, and that is going to be Arrogance, that is going to be Deimos, and that is going to be Baron. However, you see of the ones I named, only one of them is a legendary, and certainly you don't need Arrogance. Another ranged melee unit would be great, or if you don't want to do the strategy I'm going to show you here, an A5 Wrath. And I do want to highlight, we have an A5 Wrath. However, when I beat this yesterday, he was only A4. So you can totally do it with A4. However, he will need better gear than this. So right now I'm getting away with not that much attack. As you can see, no crit damage added. Wow, that's embarrassing. And not even great crit rate. So if you do want to do this exact strategy, but you don't have A5 Wrath, you can totally do it, but you got to put him in better gear. Like I said, I wanted to scale down the gear as much as possible. So I'm gonna break this team down, then we're gonna head right into the fight. But before I do, I wanna give a big shout out to Ronaldo Plays. I rarely ever, actually this is the only time I actually sat down and watched a full guide. His guide, I did a very similar strategy to him, so he very much inspired me. He's like a friend of mine now. We've done a collab together. We have another collab coming out this week. But he told me he nailed it. I watched his guide, it helped a lot. That being said, I watched his guide last week and I still couldn't do it. It takes time, guys. So even though he had the great strategy, which I had to adapt in my own way, but did work for me, like you're gonna see here, you gotta be patient. So I had to wait for better gear. I had to wait till I 6-starred my Volka. We'll talk a lot about her in this video. Okay, enough of me talking about other things. Let's talk specifically about this fight and about this team. First things first, let's just go over the map. It's very simple. You can see, I think you guys are very familiar. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're hitting your head against the wall as you've been struggling with it. So we got the main corridor right here, this center lane. Salazar, the main boss, is gonna just march down there. And then we get globbies and blobbies and side ads and all these things coming down from the side. So we have these guys, the Parasitic Beholders. They're just really easy ads to take down, but towards the end, they come out in force. And when they reach Salazar, they're gonna buff him up in a big way. As you can see here, grants a significant increase in battle prowess when it merges with its summoner in this case being the Salazar boss. So you really are gonna have to stack both sides to prevent them from ever reaching Salazar, because then once 1 or 2 of them reach Salazar, the battle's kind of over unless your team comp's amazing, in which case you probably wouldn't be watching this video. Anyway, then we've got these 2 guys. So we've got the oozes, and then they become the giant oozes. So we can just call them the blobbies. So these oozes here, they're gonna come out from these portals up here. They're just gonna come from here and from here, from here and from here. So we're gonna need to keep them from joining up, because when they're by themselves, they're pretty easy to handle. However, when they reach this square here or this square here, they are gonna join up and form a giant ooze, which hits super hard. Look at that attack, and they really will just take you out. So we gotta mitigate that. But the main thing is Salazar. He's got the slashing blitz. I'll tell you guys how I'm gonna deal with it here. But mostly, we're gonna have a great tank here. I highly suggest Olague, as you're gonna see in this fight. Then we're gonna build up some melee DPS here, here, and here. We're gonna do a nice little tip courtesy again of Ronaldo plays with our Arrogance. And then, yeah, we're going to use a two-star hero here, as well as our Vortex. I guess then it's 4 heroes, but you could totally do a light lock here. You just have to gear him quite well with a nice amount of healing effect. You don't need an HP-based healer at all. I just use Vortex because he's my best healer. He's fully skilled up. He's geared up. I like him a lot. But yeah, many healers can fulfill this role. You don't need that much healing. Everyone else, because of Volka, will be able to self-sustain. We'll go over Volka a ton at the end. Actually, let's go over Volka now because she's so good. But Vortex's main job is just keeping Olague alive, especially at the beginning as we wait for him to trigger these passives here. So if we look here, guys, and it's frozen. There we go. The silver shield. So when you skill it up, this is a mistake. It should say 10 seconds. Every 10 seconds, he's going to create a shield. But yeah, and I've got the absolute bare minimum build on Olague. It might look good, guys, but this is the lowest you can go. You'll see, maybe you could go a couple notches, just tiny steps in the stats, but you'll see he barely survives that first big hit before he puts up his shield. Anything less, I think, and he's dead. And you see we're even bringing Dagna, a rare lord who has no gear on or anything, just for that slight extra stat boost to make sure that our Olague can tank the first 2 hits, as you'll see in a second. But I do think we need to talk about Volka. Volka's quickly becoming one of my absolute favorite champions. I'm using her everywhere now that I 6-starred her. She's so underrated. She's so good at everything. She's so much more than when you get her to Awaken 1 and get the ally revival time -25. Unfortunately, we don't need any ally revivals. There's only one ally revival we use this entire fight, and we have plenty of time for when we need to revive him. That's going to be Cutter, our 2-star poisoner. So we do not need that -25. So if you've got a Volka, I suggest you 6-star her. It really makes this fight a lot better, and she does not need to be A1 for this to work. But the thing I want to highlight in Volka is, 1, she hits kind of hard. She's got an AoE on the A1, super good for dealing with those parasitic beholders and keeping them from killing them before they reach Salazar. And her ultimate's amazing. She applies vulnerability, you can see here, and when you get, whatchamacallit, this level 2 skill up, which is pretty easy. You can see I did it with my Volka without ever using a skill crystal. We reach right till the end. You only need 1 to hit it. Let's get back to there. You can see this goes all the way up to a very healthy 20% increased damage taken, both physical and magical. 2 very good vulnerabilities. So the physical damage against Salazar is really good for us here with all our melee fighters. And she kind of makes this whole thing hum. Okay, a lot of talking. Let's get right into the fight. But first, very important for the purpose of this guide, I gotta turn off Power of Dominance. I just made that mistake. Okay, let's go into it. I highly suggest, guys, you go into your settings and put your settings to start fights on 1x when you're first trying to set this up, because you very quickly, I suggest you deploy these 2 units, Cutter and Abomination, as soon as possible. So I'll let it run on 1x or even slower while I click them to explain how this works. Cutter, he's only a 2-star unit. I have him at 3 stars, level 27, only 2 stars of promotion. How is he relevant? Well, he's got dot damage. He's got damage over time in the form of poisons. He's super easy to use. He's super low cost. He's only 9 costs. That's why I prefer him here over Cuke. Cuke also works, but Cuke has a little bit of randomness as well because he puts out those he puts out those traps, those poison traps. Cutter doesn't have any of those problems. A slightly weaker ult in that it's a 300 cost ult, not 200, but it works just fine. So you want to get him out as soon as possible to start loading up this ultimate because this is going to have a guaranteed poison. He also has 30% chances to land poison on his basic attack. And then Abomination over here, if you guys don't have him yet, you will get him eventually. He's the free-to-play fusion. And as you can see, if you are able to trigger his ultimate twice, it becomes permanent. So you really want every extra second, you want him out as soon as possible to get that second trigger and then get that permanent ultimate up, because it's pretty crazy. I mean, increases max HP by 50. You really need that to tank the stuff. The parasitic beholders, extends attack range, reduces the physical damage taken. All these things are amazing, you know, deals with the burning. It's really important to help. So guys, I'm gonna throw it on 2x really quickly to show you how to time this out. So when he steps here, you can place your Olague, and right as that left shoulder starts to swing forward, let go. So why is that important? So he places his left foot and then he's like this, and as his left shoulder, so the shoulder on your right, as you look at it, his left shoulder swings forward, you can place your tank. So here we're using Olague, and this traps him between these 2 tiles. So now we can place units both above Abomination and like next to Olague, and they'll still be able to hit him. So like Abomination is hitting him right now, and then later we'll place our Deimos above Abomination, he'll still be able to hit him. So it's a nice trick to trap him right in between. So we can let that go for a bit. So now the next thing we're gonna have to do is place Vortex, but first let's make sure we get one last trigger of the ultimate from Cutter, quickly pick him up, and quickly drop Vortex. Now we're good. Now we can throw this back on 2x and wait until we can deploy our Volka. Super important in my opinion, so this is somewhere I differ from Ronaldo in my strategy. So like I said, this is heavily inspired, but not the same as his. I like to use Volka here. He used Volka here. I want to get those debuffs on the boss to take the boss down as fast as possible. My gear is not that great, and I'm using like a lot of my best gear here on like Abomination, but it just, I need those debuffs, so we want to get her down as soon as possible. Now we can let it load up, and there's the first trigger of Abomination's ult. It's a good thing we did it, and I do want to shout out, we are not going to use the ultimate of Olague because we want to keep triggering those shields, those silver shields. That passive is how this whole thing kind of works. That's how he was able to just hang on, as you saw, by that sliver before we put out Vortex. Or rather, before, not before we put out Vortex, but it was at that sliver, and then he just got that shield up to keep him up and survive until we got Vortex out. That's how you say it. All right, we can let it go now. Now we can quickly get down Deimos. I know Deimos, guys, isn't the most free-to-play friendly unit. I scaled down his gear a lot. He doesn't have very high attack, so hopefully you can understand. So here we go. These two parasitic beholders, this can be a tricky thing. That's why you need Volka down early. Trigger her ult right there, and you'll see, I'll keep it on 1x. She should be able to kill these two guys quite easily before the next two come. Otherwise, when we got the next two, she's not gonna be able to block all four. Someone's gonna get through and throw off your run immediately. So guys, let's keep it going. Next thing we can do is place our Arrogance. So he's gonna, this is a nice tip I took from Ronaldo. If you have a ranged melee unit like Arrogance with this, so you can touch this square here. So a very good one would be like Valkyra or Zelatu. They can reach here, and later we'll place our Baron, and it's a nice way to, you know, provide some insurance and keep those parasitic beholders from reaching. He's gonna do his big slash. I was a little late, but we were fine. That's when you want to trigger. So his big slashing move you can trigger with Vortex, or if you have anyone with shields. You don't need it though. Let's quickly place Wrath as soon as possible, and it's really important you do that. We might have been a little late. You want it as soon as possible because he needs, let's trigger Deimos, he needs to kill these two before they join up and make a big ooze. So hopefully, come on Wrath, do your thing, buddy. One more hit? Yes, okay, we got him. If this guy had come down and joined with him, Wrath would get killed. So super important, especially like I said, if your Wrath doesn't have A5 and can heal himself up, he would die anyway from the big ooze, but you want heavy attack to make that as seamless as possible. Make sure you can just take down those little oozes without much of a fuss. So you can see the comp is starting to hum. We can place Baron here facing that way, so he'll block some people so Arrogance can really take care of business. And now we're kind of cooking. We're kind of good. What we're gonna hold out for is there, right there. You see that thing? When he goes down Salazar like that, that's how you know the slash is coming. So if we had saved Vortex's shield till now instead of using it after the last one, this would be the time to trigger the shields, or maybe if you have a mid on or something, trigger your bigger heals, or hollow as well. But what we're gonna do, since we already use it, I just wanted to point it out because it's a nice visual cue. You'll see it's like his way of letting us know that he's going to do the big slash. So he does a couple normal hits, and then you'll see, there you go, slash, slash, slash. I built my guys pretty tanky to make sure this would not be a problem for us, as you guys will see when we go through the gear later. Now, basically what we're going to do, well, the way I like to do it just to be safe, I'm going to let Vortex load up. You see he's at what? Just over halfway now at 58%. I want to let him load up. I'll get one more. Oh, there's an ultimate from Volka. We need that. Let's trigger with Baron as well. I want to let him get one more nice heal out, and then we're going to pick him up. Like I said, we had one redeploy to do, and we're going to put Cutter back in to get that last good bit of dot damage and take us over the edge. So you can see we're nearly halfway. You can throw it on 2x really quickly. Come on, Vortex. Come on, buddy. All right, you can trigger. Let it go for a second. Oh, can't click him. There we go. Click him. Trigger, trigger. Now we can get Cutter down. So now we should be cooking. So you'll see, guys, Cutter is going to do a shocking amount of damage when you see this. And now we kind of just let the comp roll. You can keep an eye on your ultimates. Arrogance is taking care of stuff over here. Wrath is. Arrogance is taking care of stuff on the right side. Just make sure to keep triggering to keep everything up. And now it's going to start melting away. There's a poison. We can trigger with Volka too, get some more debuffs, as you can see, some vulnerabilities. And now we just let him die. So it's kind of crazy when it happens. As you guys saw, I started with the teaser when I finally did it live on the stream, and it's just shocking. It's like you're trying, and all of a sudden everything clicks, and down goes Salazar. And I don't know about you guys, I really like artifacts in this game. It's like a nice way to kind of customize your heroes and move them around for different battles. I really like mythic artifacts, and this is the best way to get them. So there you go. We got 10 and 1 for our treble. Very nice. So let's talk about the individual champions, what they're doing, and what gear they're wearing. Let's break it down in full, so we can just go back into the fight. Yep, and then I guess we'll just go right down the list. So for Wrath, I told you I tried to bring his gear down as much as possible, so I'll just go here so you can see. Wrong button. There you go. So his attack is just under 14k, so it's solid, but not that special. Defense is whatever, honestly, not very good, but high HP. Really, the sweet spot really seems to be not as important with Wrath. You can go for more DPS if you have better gear and you don't scale down the way I was doing, because he's not in the in the aura of the slashing. He's not in the range of the slashing that the big Salazar bust does. But 40k really seems, a couple people turned me on to this on my stream. It really seems to be the sweet spot to make sure everyone can tank those giant hits from Salazar, and then the passive from Volka, as well as when Vortex is out, of course, that healing will keep everybody up pretty nicely. So you can see with all in, he's at just under 14k. Like I said, no extra crit damage, so just the base as you have him awakened 3, I want to say, or is it 4 where he gets the extra crit damage? Or is it 2? I don't know. We'll check in 1 second. But not much attack speed either. I tried to make this a very achievable build. So if you have him A5, he works fine like this. Otherwise, he might get too much damage from those oozes if he's not killing them fast enough. So I would suggest a more attack-driven, DPS-driven build. You can see broken sets over here, and then we just got some nice Calamity with some attack rolls. Nothing special at all. Let's check that Awaken now. I'm curious. So it's his Awaken 2. Okay, his Awaken 2 has the plus 15%, and then no extra added there. You can just stay in here. Deimos, I again tried to scale down his gear a lot. So we have plus 12 on the weapon, only plus 14 there. Some plus 16s here with attack percentage, HP percentage, and HP percentage. Deimos is really good with HP percentage because of his, or HP bonus, because of his talent. So he's dealing additional damage equal to 2% of his max HP. However, we're really doing it just to make sure, like I said, he's tanky enough to not fall. So we got him up to, what does this come out to? Over 40k HP, actually very healthy at just like 47.3k. But you can see the attack very low. I didn't want to make this some crazy build. Then we got our crit rate here. It's okay. No extra crit damage again. I don't know what I'm doing. Some very nice rage regen and some solid attack speed as well. He did okay, as you guys saw. What else I got for y'all? Arrogance isn't a very nice build. You can see some not super high, but good attack speed. It's actually Abomination who's in some super high attack speed. Some good attack speed, some nice, let's just show here, it's easier. Just under 20k attack. What do we got? Solid crit rate, okay crit damage, nothing special here, but he did the job. He cleared his lane. Yeah, if you don't have Arrogance, guys, you could have, I'll show you again when I'll go into the map just to demonstrate, but you can basically switch where Baron was with Wrath and then put a different fighter where Wrath was. That's another way to make this work with this specific strategy I'm employing. But yeah, there's the build. Abomination's in our absolute best gear on the account. He's the guy putting out big damage for us with some nice AoEs. You can see a healthy 65k BP. You do need good champions and good gear to accomplish this, guys. You can see I actually even got him in a full curse set here, which is going to do extra damage for enemies in range. So when they really stack up at the end, he can get 3 or 4 stacks, which is pretty good. An extra, 18 or 24% damage. I'll show you. Abomination is huge base stats, so we're able to get some pretty huge numbers. Really nice HP because we do want him to be tanky. We got him at almost 19k attack. But then you can see 82% crit, I'm pretty happy with, and then a really gargantuan, almost 300% crit damage, and also 331 attack speed. It's very nice. No rage regen, but we're attacking, the attack speed's so good, it's fine just using the base rage regen we get from Pantheon. He works really well. As you guys saw, he did a really good job. So let's go back here so I make sure I didn't miss anyone. Oh, Volka, of course. I do have Volka in pretty good attack gear, but she, again, because she's within range of Salazar, she needs some tankiness. So actually she's right in that 47k range as well, just like Deimos. You don't need that much. If you can get to like 40, 41 from my practice, it's pretty good. I have Volka an incredibly high attack speed because I've chosen to go, even with, where's the HP piece? A high attack driven HP piece. I want her to benefit from her skills as much as possible. So you should notice I didn't break down everyone else's skills because I think you can swap and insert as you see fit. I'm sure you probably will use Abomination and Wrath, stuff like that, you're familiar. However, she's so good with attack speed because of this right here, Scarlet Feast. So you can see, again, I did the basic thing where I did up until I needed legendary skill crystals. So each basic attack of this hero is going to restore her HP by 6%. So to make sure she never dies, my solution, make sure she's doing basic attacks constantly. What controls the frequency of basic attacks? Attack speed. So we gave her ridiculous attack speed. Is this overkill? Probably. Almost certainly. I could look at my attack interval list and almost certainly this is way too much. We could probably knock off 50 or 100. However, we got that nice minus 1.1 attack interval. So her attack interval is at a very nice 1.3 seconds. So she stays healed up really easily. Not much crit rate, not much crit damage, but pretty good attack for her, given the HP we went for. I'm pretty happy with this build. As you could see, she was like never in risk of dying. Yeah, so that's basically all our DPS, I think. Oh, we got to do our main man Cutter. So I'll just show you Cutter's kit really quickly. The exact same kit as Screef, who's another uncommon 2-star, and also, of course, Cuke. The difference between him and Screef is a Cutter on his basic gets to prioritize airborne units, and Cutter's also the member of a faction, Piercer. So the very small Piercer bonuses he gets by your collection rewards of getting members of factions, Cutter gets that. It really doesn't matter, but I had him and I had Screef, so why not, you know, pick the guy that's in a faction and gets a little bonus. The basic is exactly the same if you ignore this last line. This first sentence is exactly the same as Screef and Cuke. 30% chance of poison, as I said, and that's going to deal damage based off the target's HP, right? So his stats don't matter. As long as he's getting attacks out quickly, getting his ult out quickly, we're going to melt away with damage over time on the Salazar boss. And then the ultimate, exactly the same as Cuke and Cutter, is Cuke and Screef. The difference with Cuke is Cuke, because he's a rare champion, can get skill ups, and you can bring this down to 200 costs. But because he's out for so short and at the end he gets settled in, for me, I thought this was a better choice than to deal with the RNG of Cuke. Because he damage doesn't matter, but it does have a non-percentage base, so basically a guaranteed poison. That's very good for us. All right, now that is all our DPS. I think it's very, Dogna's completely stripped. She's wearing nothing. I'll show you my Vortex. Not the best gear, not the worst gear. So at 35k BP, we can just hop right in here because it's broken set, and then we went for some salvation for extra healing effect. So you want a decent amount of attack speed so we can spam his basic heals out. Vortex is very good with his basic heals. So we're at 230. It's okay. I wish it was higher. Solid rage regen, but again, I wish it was like 40 plus. Healing effect is quite good. I think over 50 is good, and then like over like 75 to 100 is like even better, but this works well for us. But yeah, you can see the attack speed. We got a nice, much lowered attack interval. And then HP, not that great. It's hard to build HP on these HP-based healers. They don't have big HP pools. But that's our Vortex. Now we can do both our tanks. The most important is going to be Olague. You can see he's in solid gear, but like it's not crazy. I can show you the substats on some of this stuff. It's, you know, not very. That's the first purple roll. This is the only like solid piece with the HP bonus and defense bonus, you know. I'll show you the stats and broken set as well with life force set on the left for bonus HP. You can see, so healthy HP up at 83, but like I said, I tried this without Dagna and you couldn't make it. So you really need to pump those stats high. Pretty good defense. I think anything over 5k is solid. And that's basically it. We don't care about his attack interval, nothing. It's super important you have him skilled up, or at the very least you have this auto silver shield skilled up. Actually, that's the only thing that matters. Just land your skill ups in here. For me, this was the last one I got, so I had to max them out. But you need those -2 seconds, or else the timing of the shield doesn't work before. It will happen after Salazar slashes him, so it would happen after he's already died. So it doesn't really work out for us. Baron's really nice because he can just shield himself up since he's not in the range of healing for Vortex. I'll show you very, very quickly now because this is dragging on. You can see very similar stats, over 80k HP and then over 5k defense. He's solid. A lot of other tanks could work here as long as they have some self-sustain or some shield or something like that. And yeah, did we miss anyone? I don't think we did. So guys, that is the squad. I want to quickly show you what I was discussing just with a visual of the map with regard to where you could place Wrath if you don't have Arrogance. So like, let's say you don't have Arrogance, Valkyria, or Zealot 2, so you can't use this strategy of blocking this lane like this while also hanging out with these oozes that come. No problem. You could use your Wrath here. For sure, he'll need to be A5. So that's why I chose not to demonstrate the strategy, because then you have to wait till day 44, or you got to use some Soul Stones. Because he will, if we drop him here and we drop Vortex here, he will not be in range of Vortex. So he needs some way to heal himself up. He's not like Baron, who's self-shielding or something. So he needs the self-heals from A5. And then I will say, then over here, you'll need a different fighter because you moved Wrath over here. So, you know, whether that be, as long as they've got high enough DPS to kill the oozes before the oozes put damage out on them, and certainly before the oozes meet up with each other, it's okay. So like, and I mean, Estrid, Voroth, of course, Salazar, Valeria, any legendary fighter would work, and then any decent epic fighter that does DPS would work as well. Yeah, guys, I think that just about covers it. So I hope this was helpful. I know I was doing a lot of talking and a lot of quick talking. There's a lot of information to get out, and I want to do my best job to get it out as quickly as possible. I was thinking just for fun, we can finish up. I think we have just enough now to do one single mythic summon. Mythic artifact summon, so who knows, maybe we'll get something special. Yeah, we got 58, enough for just one. And what's cool, guys, about, well, let's see what we get first. All right, Broken Nightmare. I'm just looking for red. What's cool, guys, once you beat stage 18 is you can kind of see we're done with this. We'll never need the gold again, and we'll certainly never need the purple. You know, no more epic forge, no more legendary forge. It's all about the mythic forge. Anyway, guys, I've been Fastidious. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like it. If you want to comment, I'll answer your comment. I answer every comment, and as well, you can share it. That's great. I'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.